Okay, I just wanted to show you guys. Okay. I wrote this probably last month or something. So all this book, all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet. And I kept asking, what verse? What verse? I think I looked over here, and so who's the prophet? Okay, then again, he says, for so it is written by the prophet, but it doesn't say the prophet. So I'm asking. See, it's in quotes. So I don't know what I was doing here. And then, so that's chapter 2. And then, again, okay, this is where I love the angel warning him. So, but here it says spoken by the prophet, but it doesn't say who. And then here, spoken, here it says Jeremiah. So there it'll tell you, but it won't tell you what verse. I think I did look. It won't tell you where in Jeremiah, but I was too lazy to Google it. You can just Google these words and find the verse. You could probably Google these words in the other, but I was, like I said, I was just too lazy to do it at that time. You can Google these verses and find out where in the Bible probably that it was spoken by the prophet. Okay, so that's chapter 2. Then this is spoken by Jeremiah. Then this is another prophecy. The prophets, but they don't tell you what verse, and they don't even do a quote. And this is not a King James anyway. Spoken by the prophet Isaiah. Okay, he'll tell you it's Isaiah here, but they won't tell you what verse. But you can Google these words. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, okay? So that's one point I have is, so this is ending in John the Baptist. All right. So it goes from, my point was that it goes from Jesus being born all the way to Jesus being baptized. And there were several prophecies of it all. But it all took 33 years or 30 years to come to fulfillment. Even here I noticed. Right here. This is probably has, I don't know. I know they say a generation according to Psalm 90, but I've never added it up to this because I just noticed this. It says, so all the generations from Abraham to David were 14 generations. And from David to or whatever, to Babylon, 14 generations. And then from the deportation to Babylon to the Christ is 14 generations. So you got 3 sets of 14 generations. If a generation is 70 to 80 years, calculate that by 14 times, and you'll see how many years in between. If that's even Psalm 90, if Psalm 90 is even the generations, you can see if it matches up to their types of generation. It says 14 generations because that channel ministry revealed, they're always where he believes in 3 raptures, the barley there, and then there are 2 wheat harvests in Israel. You got an early wheat harvest and a latter wheat harvest. You also have what else? So anyway, he's got a saying called the 14ers, because he finds all the places in the Bible where it's 14. Now, Joseph was in prison for 13 years, I think, but maybe 14. But like I said, he finds all the verses in the Bible about 14. And he correlates them to raptures. Also about that rapture, because the barley, you just throw it up in the air and it blows away the chaff. That's the barley. He says that's the first rapture. Then the second rapture is okay, so Israel only has 2 seasons, summer and winter. even though the feasts are fall and spring feasts of the Lord, they still recognize only 2 seasons, summer and winter. Even though they do have spring and fall feasts. But these wheat harvests here, there's 2 of them. One is in the beginning of the wheat harvest and one is in the end of the wheat harvest, and they have to be beaten with a tribulum. A tribulum. That's why it's called tribulation. You got to beat the hell out of the people. And anyway, so that's just interesting information. I don't necessarily believe in 3 raptures, but he's got it all figured out, and it really matches up because these gospels here, this is to the Jews, Mark is to the left behind, and he has them all broken down. Okay, I didn't follow him closely, but he has them all broken down on Ministry Revealed. Mark is to the left behind, Gentiles and Jews. Luke is to the bride, and he has, I don't know what he says about John, but these 3 gospels are to, this is the bride, the barley harvest, and he breaks down things like Jesus in his robe. In the Luke, it's like a white robe when they're mocking him before he goes to the cross. He's wearing a white robe. Then in Mark, he's got a different color, like it's a purple robe, okay? And then in Matthew, it's a red robe, okay? Or vice versa. And that's just one example. He finds all those discrepancies in all 3 of these gospels, to the Jews, to the Mark left behind, Jew and Gentile, and to Luke the bride. He finds, like there's a crown as well, like Jesus, the crown of thorns, maybe. So all 3 of these gospels have 3 differences of many things. Many things. There's 3 different colors of his robe. That's the one thing I can remember. And he breaks it down what the purpose is. He also breaks down every verses that prove that they're to the Jews. But see, all the preachers want to preach out of Matthew 24. And that's not to the church. Matthew is, but we still need to read Matthew. So if anybody wanted to be interested in Ministry Revealed, I'm sure he has the beginning videos where he'll label them, the breakdown, because he's been doing this for like 5 years or longer or maybe shorter, and he wrote a book and he sent it out to all the pastors that he knew, and he went to all the churches, and nobody wanted to teach it. But the way he breaks it down, I don't know what he's doing these days. I haven't listened to him in quite a few years, but you can always check it out and see what he's talking about. The 3 raptures, the differences of the 2 wheat harvests, the differences in the 3 gospels. There's more than just Jesus' robe. A lot more. The difference of his robe color. And he might have, like I said, 3 videos that explain the gist of all of it, because he's also looking for Jesus. So his other videos might be about the rapture in these years past, but he does have the bare bones basic videos, Ministry Revealed channel, the basic videos on how he breaks down these 3 gospels. Okay, bye.